Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at the recent rumors around the Arizona Coyotes. I made a video last week talking about the Arizona Coyotes potentially going on a fire sale, but now we're starting to hear about potential Conor Garland trades, and we're going to be taking a look at that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even bigger subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the recent rumors around Conor Garland. So, according to Elliot Friedman, a big hockey insider, the Arizona Coyotes have been asked about forward Conor Garland. If the offer is big enough, they'll at least consider it. So, we're going to do a little dive on Conor Garland today. So, Conor Garland, if you guys don't know, has been one of the better players in the NHL for his salary. Right now, he per money spent on a player compared to his points, he is one of the best value players added to a roster in the entire league. He has just been that good for the Coyotes and kind of came out of nowhere. So Conor Garland, he's 25 years old, a former 5th-round pick back in the 2015 NHL draft. Conor Garland is doing quite well with the Arizona Coyotes. You look at what he's done this season. He's got 25 points in 31 games this season. And a team that's really been struggling for the most part to pick up points, he's really done well. Excuse me. The Massachusetts native is a guy that I would keep my eye on. He's one of the smaller guys in the league at 5'10", 165 pounds. Damn, he weighs as much as I do. So, I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, but very interesting there for Conor Garland. He's a small, speedy goal scorer. He's got 82 points in his over 100 games in the NHL, 146 games. So he's had a pretty good career. His average ice time, he's averaging over 17 minutes of ice time this season. And he's done quite well. I mean, you look at what he's done the last couple games. He picked up 2 points in the last 5 games. So good numbers there for Conor Garland. He's been a reliable player. He's a guy that you can really, he's one of those guys that, I mean, you look at the last couple seasons since he came into the NHL. His first season in the league, he played 47 games. He picked up 18 points. Not too bad. His second season last year, 39 points. So he had in a full season, he would have had a 50-point season. And he's on pace this season. If there was a full season, he'd be on pace for another potential 40 to 50 point season once again. So he's a 40 or 50 point goal scorer or point producer in the league. And those guys don't come around that often, especially at under $1 million, because you look at what he's making right now. Conor Garland is a restricted free agent this summer. He's making $775,000 right now. He is definitely going to see a pay raise. But he's not the only guy that's going to be making some money in Arizona this summer. They've got a couple guys they have to re-sign. I would have to think they're going to look at Adin Hill, potentially getting an upgrade in pay this year. And they've got a couple decisions to make. I mean, we've heard about the Coyotes even throwing out the name Barrett Hayden, who was their former 2019 4th overall pick, 6th overall pick. Barrett Hayden kind of came out of nowhere. He was a guy that nobody really expected to go that early in the draft. May have been a little bit of John Chayka's the little bit of weird stuff he was doing illegally in terms of testing players before the draft. That may have been part of Barrett Hayden, and doesn't seem like it's working out so well. So not the best situation. But the Coyotes have a little over $1 million in cap space, and they're not going to get that much. I mean, they're going to have $32 million in cap space this summer, which is pretty high. So the final year of Marian Hossa's stupid contract thing. You're going to have a lot of defensemen come off the books. The only 2 defensemen you have moving forward from this season are Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Jacob Chychrun. Everybody else is a unrestricted free agent. Osterley, Lyubushkin, Yalmerson, and Goligoski. I would expect the Coyotes to do a fire sale specifically on the defensive side of things. Don't be surprised if the Coyotes are active at this year's deadline, especially with where they are in the standings right now. But I think Conor Garland, again, an RFA this summer, so he could draw some interest from the league. Now, the question is, what teams are going to look at Conor Garland? Now, a bell went off in my head when I saw a Massachusetts native. I think the Boston Bruins would be an interesting fit because we've heard about them being tied to potentially Kyle Palmieri. We've heard them tied to guys like even Taylor Hall in the offseason, Jack Eichel. I think Conor Garland would be an interesting fit in Boston, and he would add a little bit of depth to their forward group because, like I said, the kind of regression of Jake DeBrusk this season has left a hole in the top six, and that maybe gives a spot for maybe one of the young guys to jump in, right? Like a Trent Frederick and Anders Bjork. But I think they want to see a more reliable guy, and if it's Conor Garland, who is a Massachusetts native, that would be perfect for the Boston Bruins. But the problem for the Bruins is their cap space. They're not going to have that much cap space. They do have David Krejci coming off the books, which is good, and that's really it in terms of contracts. They're going to be pretty cap constrained, as well as Tuukka Rask. Wow, so they're going to have some money. They're going to have up to $15 million in cap space off the books. They're going to have $30 million this summer, so this could be an interesting summer. Now, remember, they have to re-sign Brandon Carlo, Andre Kasha, who else? Sean Corrali, who's another name? Trent Frederick, final year of his entry-level deal. Nick Ritchie, but is he going to really see an upgrade? So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the Boston Bruins could go for Conor Garland. I think the Bruins are the best fit for Garland, but let's just take a look at other teams. I think the New York Islanders would be another team, especially with their situation with salary. Maybe they could even flip him as an RFA over the summer. They say, hey, listen, we don't have the money. Offer him a deal, and we'll just take the draft picks for him, and you could have him. Maybe we see the Islanders go in on a guy like Conor Garland. I think that would be interesting. Could be a little bit lower of a price tag than some of these other guys. Who else would be a good fit? Just trying to look around. Maybe the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers would be another team that's interesting. They have some cap space, $8 million. They could bring in a guy like Conor Garland. Now they're going to have their own issues with salary over the next couple years. They have to sign guys like Barkov in 2 years. They're going to have to sign Duclair this summer. He's going to want some money, I would think. Let's take a look. Gustav Forsling, probably not going to get a huge upgrade. Chris Drieger might see some money. And they only have $14 million in cap space this summer. So, yeah, that may not work. But maybe as a rental, Conor Garland could draw interest for the Florida Panthers as well. Just some added depth. Who's another team? Maybe the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers don't have a lot of cap space. That's the issue with them. But again, the fact that Conor Garland comes in at so cheap for this year is going to make teams at least lick their chops just a little bit at the thought of Conor Garland, even as a rental for this year. And like I said, RFA, they have his rights this summer. But if they decide to waive those rights, or if they decide, listen, we're not going to sign you, we go to arbitration. Or what they could do is figure out the cap situation over the summer once they get a better idea if he fits with their system. And then, worst case, they take the offer sheet compensation for a team that offer sheets him. Maybe they could even do that. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Where do you think Conor Garland would be the best fit? I think the Boston Bruins would be the best fit for Conor Garland. But what do you think would be the price tag for a guy like Conor Garland? Is it a first-round pick and a B-level prospect? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.